completely untouched drone video, which I think is where you see it the clearest. And then we have one that is zoomed in, and we have one that is slowed down. I believe the clearest shot is actually the original drone video. So we can present that evidence, and they can rebut it. I think you're taking the picture wrong on your phone. I'm not tech support.
Pardon me?
I think you're taking the picture wrong on your phone.
Is that it?
I think so.
I'm not surprised.
But you know, these things are in evidence. You watched it on the screen yesterday, whether you formed your opinion or not, and that was
my opinion is not what counts, except to the extent that if there's no if it's just totally unclear, then I certainly can't give a provocation instruction based upon a picture that I can't make anything out of. I agree with you, the ultimate determination of what it shows is for the jury.
It is not based on...
You have to be over the threshold.
It's absolutely not based on the picture. It is based on the drone video and the testimony. And this was testimony elicited, if not by the defense, then in response to their questioning. Detective Antaramian testified he reviewed it and saw it, and that was a common question in many people in this case. The photo is like the fifth or sixth most important piece of evidence. The most important piece of evidence on this point is the drone video itself, and that is unedited. There are some edited copies as well that are helpful, but to focus on this photograph, that was almost an afterthought simply because we didn't get it till the day before, and we figured it may be helpful at some point. The photograph is, we may not even show that to the jury. It is based on the drone video and the testimony of Detective Antaramian. It is in the record. We have evidence of provocation. I can't fathom why, if there's evidence in there of provocation, which we have clearly done, why we cannot argue it and why we cannot get that instruction. The defense is free to completely call it whatever they want and to attack it. But that is why we have trials.
I haven't seen it clearly, okay?
I have.
Oh.
Your Honor, they're arguing for something saying we've been on notice from the beginning. And if they wanted to put on the evidence to prove up provocation, all they had to do was call Mr. Zeminski or Mrs. Zeminski to rebut the story that we have. They didn't put them on because Detective Antaramian, Detective Howard both know he's a liar. And they're building their whole prosecution on that without putting him on.
Well, they don't have to call a particular witness.
But they don't have the provocation. And, you know, we had all these little things going on yesterday, and I went back to my office, and the whole essence of the problem came down to these two facts in the testimony. Examiner Armstrong took 20 hours to manipulate that photograph to get that blurry mess up on the screen. We had our expert do it right in front of the jury in seconds, and it showed what it was. And that's where the hocus pocus and adding the pixels and all the other garbage comes in, and that's what they're building their prosecution on.
Again, we're focusing on a picture that is again, we're focusing on a picture that I have said repeatedly now is the least
Well, show me the best one.
What?
Show me the best ones.
Your Honor, yesterday, before Mr. Armstrong was allowed to testify in rebuttal, we went over this about whether or not the methods he was using were appropriate, and we showed you walked up to the 450, and we showed you exactly what it is we're talking about.
And I'm not even going to tell you what I thought when I saw it.
And Judge, this is not a court trial. You're not the finder of fact. We have facts.
I know it, and that's why I let it go to the jury.
That's what we're asking.
That's what we're asking, is that the jury be allowed to consider the state's evidence, is essentially what we're asking.
I don't think, Your Honor, you would have allowed Mr. Armstrong to testify yesterday. I don't think you would have allowed him to testify in rebuttal, unless you had made some determination that there was some basis for this.
What I made a determination was that I thought the jury should make the decision.
And that's all we're asking.
So that's your best picture, the one I saw over there?
No.
Where's the best picture, please?
We'll show it to the finder of fact.
You're asking me to give an instruction. I want to see the best picture.
It's the
We need to get Mr. Stute over here, I think.
we need it on the big TVs.
You need it on the big TV?
Are you talking
All
about
right,
82?
bring it up if you would.
What is that?
82 is the slow.
No, I think the best picture is on the original drone or the normal speed one.
73, you say so.
Judge, I think using the defense, we've got the exhibits on our one of our laptops that I think Mr. Stute has. I've texted him to come on over, but I think Ms. Wisco is graciously going to be able to play them for you. I would recommend watching them on the 4K TV. I think that's the best way to see them. So we can set that up. There is the full drone footage. There is the slowed down drone footage. And then, of course, we have the photographs that Mr. Armstrong had yesterday. So. They're on your desk. Yeah. Judge, again, I would recommend, like yesterday, coming and watching on 4K TV.
Which adds pixels if it's not 4K quality.
What's that?
I said, this TV
It's your TV.
adds pixels to something unless it's 4K quality. It
Where's
does
the
next to
evidence on that?
It's your
It's
TV.
common sense and judgment, Jim.
There's no evidence on that.
Are you saying I'm lying?
I have no idea.
I'm saying there's no evidence on that.
I'm asking.
But
I'm saying there's
another,
no
Well, it's common
Questionable argument.
You
sense.
brought in this TV to show the exhibits.
Yeah,
brought in the
4K
TV.
drone.
You brought in the TV to show the exhibits. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my noise phones.
You want us to use Mr. Armstrong's pointer to show you exactly where we're going?
Something's up there.
Okay, I'll
Just
grab
use
it.
your hand.
This is the unedited.
Okay.
Is this unedited?
Yeah, this is the unedited.
73.
So Judge, we're going to be focusing your attention right here at the base of this
Right.
sign. Okay, that's where the defendant is going to come into. Go ahead. Okay, you can stop because we're past it now. Okay, this is the same quality as our version, is it? Yeah.
Our version is much clearer.
Yeah. We'll have to get our.
I have the enhanced one I can play as well, but that is exactly what we got from you. I got it from the straight from Dropbox.
Yeah, Mr. Stute's coming
So
up.
what you're showing me now is, this doesn't show anything. This is what was provided to the defense?
Yes.
pursuit's on its way. And here?
I downloaded that straight off Dropbox, so if your version's clear, that means that you didn't give us your version.
It's just plain weird.
That's not how that works. Actually, this one's email. So that is exactly from the email.
Is this the zoomed in or the regular?
This is the regular version.
So we're looking right here. This is the defendant. He puts it down, he raises it up right there. He has it pointed until Rosenbaum approaches, then he runs around.
Try it again, please.
Play it
Try
again, please.
And can you slow it down?
We have a slow.
Not this version, we have a different version of this.
That's what you watched yesterday.
Go ahead, sir.
Right here's the gun. Right there's the gun right here. Oh, wait. Looks very similar to that when he points it here, Mr. Rosenbaum.
Let's see again, Judge.
One more time.
Sorry, one more time.
Here, Stu, let me pause it 1 second in, please.
Start playing.
Pause.
Pause.
Right here. If you watch it, when he goes right up here, he puts the fire extinguisher down gently. It topples over, and then he immediately raises up like this. And the gun is right, we argue, right here. And he stays in this position like this until you see Mr. Rosenbaum come around. So Mr. Rosenbaum, if he is yelling gun, 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 we would argue it's to warn all these people that he is pointing a gun at them, and that he is chasing him out of the area to avoid danger. But if you see right here, the state believes, with all the motions taken, that's the gun. And it's right here.
Is that where Mr. Rosenbaum yells, "You're not gonna do shit, MFer"?
We can talk about this on closings, if you want.
I was just curious.
What's that?
I said I was just curious.
All right.
You see him drop it right there as Mr. Rosenbaum approaches. Or lower it, I should say. Would you like the zoomed in or slowed down one?
I'd like to see the enhanced one now.
In normal speed or slow speed? Do that the zoom in normal speed.
Zoomed in, normal speed.
Do you need a number?
Yeah, I think it's It's 81 and then 82. Right. 81 first. Yeah, 81 first, then 82.
So this is slightly cropped and normal speed.
But the court reporter wants to use the wireless mic.
Oh, so this is the defendant right here. You can see the AR-15 is on his chest. The fire extinguisher you can't see right now because it's blocked by this man in the wheelchair. But you'll see him walk up again. He will gently place the fire extinguisher on the ground, although it will fall over, and then he will immediately raise his gun up and point it at the individuals who are over here, who I think are right now blocked by this street light. But they're the Zeninskis. Okay, go, Brian. You see him lift it right there. He's holding it right there until Mr. Rosenbaum approaches. You see the very distinct motion of him raising his arms, and you see the black gun being raised. One more time, please.
You'd agree if that's true, he's doing it open to the camera.
Well,
So
you know what?
No, I would not say that.
it's okay.
So here's the gun. Puts it down and raises it right here. He still has it up right there, and then he drops it and runs. Would you like the slowed down version?
Yeah, please.
Slowed down version, please. So here's the defendant here. There's the AR-15 right there. Play it, please. So he's coming to frame, he drops the fire extinguisher, and he raises it right up. He has it up right there, you see him bring it down, and you see him start to run. He's pointing it at Joshua Zeminski, who probably is vandalizing or committing arson, but that's another...
Where's Zeminski's gun?
We don't believe he has his gun out at that point.
Wait a minute.
He fires it.
I didn't hear what the judge
I'm sorry?
I said, where's Zeminski's gun? I meant, what I meant to say was, does it depict Mr. Zeminski or
Shooting?
Mr. Zeminski's gun?
Wait,
At this point, no, it does show him shoot in the air.
Oh, that's over later, over there.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about at this point.
I don't believe it shows Mr. Zeminski's gun.
Does it show Mr. Zeminski?
Can you play it again, Brian? He's kind of
Or
hidden.
Mrs. Zeminski?
They're kind of hidden by this light
I can't get all
post.
this, what everybody is saying. I'm so sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
Is it okay? Do you need me to record this? Because I'm not getting judge what you were saying.
Yeah, because it's argument.
Can you,
What I had inquired is, well, wait.
go ahead. No, just go ahead.
Okay, what I'm inquiring is whether what I'm looking at now depicts...
Do you want to show them?
Mr. and or Mrs. Zeminski, and if Mr. Zeminski, whether or not it depicts the firearm that he is reported to have fired seconds later.
Where the Zeminskis are?
It's very hard to see them because they're dark against the dark Duramax. So.
We only know they're there because the FBI video. You can kind of see they're blurry. We did not try to do any enhancements on that.
Yeah. I mean, we know from the FBI video.
I can't hear you. I'm so sorry.
We know from the FBI video, Your Honor, that they're in this proximity alongside the Duramax, but because they're darker clothed and the Duramax is a dark vehicle, and of course other issues with the video, it's not, and there's poles and things, so they're in that vicinity. The FBI video, which we can show you, does give you.
I've seen it.
It might be helpful after seeing this now to see that because it kind of gives you a better So,
If you play it, I think I can play it, please, Brian.
go ahead, play it, Brian.
Be sure if you're going to speak into a microphone.
I believe
Please. I think
they're blocked by the light post, but they are right here.
I think this is one of them here. Moving. It's very hard to tell in this video.
But then they walk down this way, and this is where he we don't accept the defendant's story that he had his gun out, because in the video you clearly see Mr. Zeminski pull it out of his pocket, fire in the air, and then put it right back in his pocket. So unless he had the gun out and then put it in his pocket in these few feet, we're not accepting the defendant's story. In fact, we believe this contradicts his story that Mr. Zeminski had his gun already out, because you see on the next enhanced video, you see him pull it out of his pocket and fire it in the air quick and then put it down.
He keeps it down on his side. He's walking right down the sidewalk yelling, "That dude just shot somebody." You can see the gun clearly in his hand.
No.
Well,
Not
that
this
just sounds like a great argument. But did you want to make any observations about this before I make a decision?
Well, you're going to see what... I'm cheating here, right here. You're going to see what you believe that you see, okay? So that question is, does that video provide enough information to give an instruction on provocation?
And Your Honor, how does, if you take everything they've said, that's true, how does pointing a gun at Zeminski provoke Rosenbaum, who they say they don't know each other?
There's no evidence of that. He called it Zeminski. Mr. Rosenbaum is dead, and it's defense of others.
Well-
and it's pointing a loaded firearm, which is a misdemeanor without any real basis.
Well, the evidence, okay? The evidence in the record from two people is that Mr. Rosenbaum had twice before threatened to kill the accused. So is it, what is the legal effect of a person who, if he made such a threat, what legal justification does he have to chase after the accused? In such a way as to not put the defendant into a position of being a provocateur.
We are absolutely
That's
not.
how I'll phrase it.
We are not accepting the evidence that that threat was made because there are differing accounts of where and when it was made, and it's like the only 5 seconds not caught on video all night. So, but like you said, Judge, it'll be a great argument, and I do not believe that Mr. Rosenbaum does not give up the ability to be provoked because he may have said things an hour earlier. If this individual, now remember, there is evidence in the record that he was accused of pointing guns at other individuals for property crimes. The defendant admitted he responded sarcastically to one of them. On the video, he sort of sheepishly and quickly walks away after admitting he pointed a gun at someone for property crimes. The state's belief is that he pointed a gun at Mr. Zeminski for another property crime, and this dangerous behavior, pointing this loaded, powerful weapon at someone for, at the most, perhaps stoking a fire that's already been lit, would be provocation. The committing this unlawful act would be provocation for anyone to intervene and try to chase him away, whether or not threats have been made. And I know Your Honor takes these threats seriously, but we've also seen thousands and thousands of threats to kill that have never been acted upon. This guy, Mr. Rosenbaum, was described as a babbling idiot. There's no evidence he ever caused any physical harm to anyone that night. And frankly, even if he had threatened, he had no means to carry out his threat. So, as you said, it's a great argument. There's evidence in the record, not just by video, also by testimony, and there's enough evidence to give this instruction. If the jury does not accept this argument, if we do not meet our burden, that probably is beneficial to the defense, but it should at least be argued as the evidence does support it. And it goes directly in contrast to what the defendant testified to.
Do you want to respond?
Judge, it's been hashed over.
Well, it's the jury's. It's the jury's case, and I think they should make the critical decisions. My decision will be to submit the case to the jury with the provocation instruction, and you can argue the strength or lack of strength of the respective evidence. So I will give that instruction, and I'll give the... You didn't dispute the retreat, did you?
I don't think it's, I did. I don't think it's, if you look at the comments, it's not necessary. It says right in the comments, the committee concluded that while reference to duty to retreat is arguably unnecessary, given the potential relevance of retreat to the reasonable use of force, it's advisable to continue to publish it. It is intended to be optional in the sense that it is to be used only when the trial judge concludes that retreat is an important issue in the case, and the jury's understanding will be aided by a statement of rather than the general legal standard that applies. So I don't think that under these circumstances there's any, can't say it's unfavored, but if you look at the comments, there's no reason, in my opinion, to give it. He does retreat. There's no argument about that, but I don't think it's necessary to be given.
Judge, I believe that it is appropriate in large part because this was, that there is no duty to retreat was mentioned in opening. I believe Attorney Tarofsky referenced it in a cross-examination that the defendant had no duty to retreat. So I believe that there should be, that's been put out to the jury. There should be a fuller explanation of what that means, that they can decide and they can see if there was opportunity to retreat. We see the defendant has plenty of open space in which to retreat. He does so right after shooting Mr. Rosenbaum. And also...
Well, yeah, no, I'll say that. Everybody was scattering then, and that dramatically changes the situation.
If you look at the FBI video where he ran to, there was absolutely no one there before the shooting.
The FBI video doesn't pick everybody up.
I can't hear you.
The FBI video does not pick everybody up. The Zanin video shows it clear as day. There's 100 people over there bashing on windows.
Yeah, the Zanin,
Zanin, I apologize.
I don't remember which it was. I think it was Zanin.
Zanin.
Video, to me, depicted a large number of people who were engaging in violent activity. Well, property violence, but it's still, they're using clubs and wrenches or whatever else to be doing destruction to those cars that are right in the area which would have been the path of flight for the accused. And I'm wrong about that?
Yes.
In the Zanin video, you hear the 5 gunshots. You hear the first gunshot, which is Mr. Zeminski, and there's kind of a flinch of the crowd, and then you hear the 4 shots that Kyle fired.
Yeah, let's have a look at it. I sure formed the impression when I looked at it that this is just to the south of the area where the shooting took place, and that there was a very large group of people in there who were intent on riotous activity.
I agree that in the southern portion of the lot there is. The defendant testified that his first instinct was to try and head north on Sheridan, that he could not because Mr. Rosenbaum was there. But as their testimony is that he was somehow trapped or blocked in these rather loosely parked cars. And you will see, I believe in the video, that the route the defendant takes after shooting Mr. Rosenbaum...
I don't want to hear about after, because after, that's a different situation entirely.
All right, well,
watch the video. Let's watch the video.
Shots go right at
Okay, there's no sound.
Sure, you can put the sound on if it's there.
It's not like...
Over here, past the hospital.
Can you pause it, please? Or go back 2 seconds? The defendant runs here. There's no one in that area.
I will mind
Wait for the
you.
gunshots. Which comes in a minute, 10 seconds approximately.